Hi class, this is course 2, lesson 34, decimal numbers on a number line. Right here we have part of a centimeter ruler. I know it's centimeters because it has the cm there, and so that's telling me that the largest units are in centimeters. So where it says 1, 2, and 3, it's centimeters. Okay, so if I needed to know the measurement of this segment up here, I know it's between 2 and 3 centimeters, but you have to think back to lesson 32 and know that the smaller pieces, the sections in between, are millimeters. Now, how do I know that? Well, look and see how many spaces are in between the centimeters. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we'd get to 10. Okay, at half, there's 5. So there are 10 spaces in between each of those units, 2 and 3, or 1 and 2, etc. And since those are 10 spaces, those are tenths, right? 1/10, 2/10, 3/10. So a couple different ways I could write this. This is right here, which would be on 1, 2, 3, right? 3/10. So if I wanted to write the length of this in centimeters, it would be 2 and 3/10. Now, what you want to do with metric will always be decimals. Or maybe not always, prefer to be decimals. Okay, so if you have metric, leave your answer in decimals. So 2, it's 2 and 3/10 of a centimeter. But if they ask you in millimeters, millimeters are 1/10 of a centimeter. 1 millimeter is 1/10 of a centimeter. And so what you really are asking here is that each of these segments, or these markings here, these are all equal to 1 millimeter. Okay, so this, if you counted, there would be 10 here, 10 here, and then there are 3 here. So you would have 23 millimeters. This is a tricky subject, and so make sure that when you're doing practice problems that you ask for assistance on these. It's really easy to be off just a little bit, and I'd rather that you know what to do than that you think that you're doing it right and you're doing it wrong. Okay. Here's a rectangle with dimensions in centimeters, and it says what is the perimeter in meters. Okay, now there are 2 ways to approach this problem. First way would be to add, then let's see, we'll add in centimeters and then convert to meters. And the second way will be to convert to meters, then add. Okay, so we have 2 different ways we can solve this problem. So the first way, we're going to leave the units in centimeters, add them, then convert. So perimeter, remember, is the distance all the way around the rectangle, and I can take 14 times 2 and then 5 times 2 and add those 2 together. So 14 times 2 would be 28, and 5 times 2 is 10, and I can add those together, and that gives me 38 centimeters because I used the centimeters. Now I can multiply this times 2 because there are 2 sides that are exactly the same length, and I'm going all the way around the figure. Okay, so 38 centimeters, but I need meters, and this is where that stair step comes into place. or comes into play for from lesson 32. Centimeters, 1/100th of a meter. Okay. 1 centimeter is 1/100th of a meter. So if I have 38 of them, I have 38 hundredths. Okay. If you're using your stair-step diagram, meters would be here, and then you'd go down, and then you'd go down, and this would be centimeters. So you'd go up 1, 2. And remember, you would move the decimal to the left. So 38 centimeters is the same thing as 0.38 meters. 38 hundredths of a meter. A centimeter is small. It's the width of your finger. A meter is like 3 yards. It's approximately the height from the doorknob to the floor. Okay, so that's why you would have a fraction of a meter if you only had 38 centimeters. Now I could convert to meters first and then add, and this is going to be the same thing. Move 2 decimal places to the left because we're dividing by 100. So I'd have decimal point 14 and decimal point 5, and I can add those up. I'd have 2 of these, and I'd have 2 of these, and the refresher on how to add decimals and multiply decimals is coming in lesson 35. But this would be 5 plus 5 is 10. Carry the 1 over on the other side of the decimal. So I'd have 1 there. And this would be decimal point 28. Oh, look at this. I made a mistake. I just had to stop and say, this doesn't make any sense because this would be 1 and 28 hundredths, and I know that's wrong. I didn't move my decimal 2 places, right? 2 places would be 5 hundredths, which is what it should be. Okay. Then I get a 0 and a 1 and a decimal with a 0. And when I add these together, I get 38 hundredths of a meter. Now, anytime you have units in your problem, you have units in your answer, so make sure that you have those units as well. Okay, here's the number line. This is the last example today, and it might be kind of hard to sketch this out, so do the best you can. You don't need to continue from, past 4.8. This is also in your book, so if you need to spend some time with it, you can look at it there. But notice that the number line is divided. This represents 1 unit, right? From 4 to 5, that's 1. Each of these, decimal point 1, decimal point 2, decimal point 3, those divisions would be tenths right here. And so what's the next smaller unit when we're dividing, because there's 10 units here, and if you count the smaller units in between, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there are 10 here as well. So what's the next when we're going by powers of 10? It's 1, then tenths, and then these would be hundredths. Okay, so this tiny little numbers or dashes on our number line are hundredths of whatever it is, hundredths of the hundredths place. So point A is going to be right in the middle. It's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But it cannot be, I'm going to write this down, 4.5, right? Can't be 4 and 5 tenths because that's here. And A is here. Because this is 4.0, it already starts with 4 decimal point 0, and then we don't get to 1/10, we stay at 5 tenths of a hundredth, or tenths of a tenth, sorry, which is 1/100th. So it's 4 and 5 hundredths. That's what A is. And when we get to B, we are between 4 and 3/10 and 4 and 4/10. So we know we have 4 and 3/10, and we just have to figure out where we're at after that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4 and 38/100. And point C would be at 4.7, 4 and 7/10, but it'd be 1, 2, 3. 4 and 73/100. Now, take a look at the number line. If I added another 0 here, then I could add on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 5.00. And that might help you understand that because there are 10 in between, we're really talking about hundreds. Okay, again, this is a tricky concept. Make sure if you have questions or you want to verify your answer to any of the problems to get a hold of me, okay? I will see you in class.